Hello viewers, welcome to the Editorial Analysis by Drishti IAS. In this section, we regularly take editorials from various newspapers and news portals for a better understanding of the issues happening in India and across the world. Dear viewers, in this section, we first try to link the editorial with our UPSC syllabus. Then we go analytical in order to understand some key points and at last some important concepts. Dear viewers, we truly hope that you like this initiative taken by Drishti IAS and your feedbacks are important for us. So kindly feel free to give your important feedbacks in the comment section. So without any further delay, let's start our session.
Dear viewer, this video is available in Hindi as well. If you wish to watch it, please visit our Hindi YouTube channel, Drishti IAS. For your convenience, the link for this video in Hindi has been provided in the description below.
Today's editorial is taken from Economic Times and the title of today's editorial is The Politics of a $5 Trillion Economy. If we try to summarize today's editorial, we can definitely say that Prime Minister Modi in his recent interview with Economic Times defined the approach of New India in a fast-shaping new pandemic world order. How the preemptive strategies like the lockdown helped save many lives and how the economy is on the road to recovery. If we try to link today's editorial with our UPSC syllabus, we can link the editorial with our GS paper 3, which has got sections that include Indian economy and issues relating to planning, mobilization of resources, growth, development, employment, inclusive growth, issues arising from it, and government budgeting. Some key points from today's editorial. Speaking to Economic Times, Prime Minister Modi was confident that the economy would recover from the COVID slump and indeed of building a $5 trillion economy by 2024. Considering that the economy would likely attain the 2019-2020 level of $2.7 trillion only by the end of 2021 after this year's negative growth on account of the pandemic and associated economic lockdown, hitting $5 trillion in 3 years would require the economy to grow by more than 22% a year. Now, recently Prime Minister Modi gave his interview to Economic Times in which he said that the Indian economy is now on the road to recovery. He also said that in spite of the slump which was observed due to COVID pandemic situation, we are on our way to make India a $5 trillion economy by 2024. Now, if we look at this aspect, we can definitely say that in 2019-2020, the total size of the Indian economy was $2.7 trillion. And we will be able to achieve this figure of $2.7 trillion only by the end of 2021. That means if we wish to achieve the $5 trillion mark, $5 trillion economy mark, it is important for us that the growth of economy should be by not less than 22%. Now, this is one data, one figure which we have. If we speak about the assessment, before the pandemic situation came, India could have achieved a goal of 5 trillion economy by 2024-25 if it sustains a growth rate of 9% per annum. But this situation was before pandemic. Before pandemic, that means if we start from 2020 until 2024-25, if the growth rate is around 9% every year, then definitely we would have hit the $5 trillion mark. But because we have faced such a severe situation during the COVID pandemic, so the growth rate now has increased to 22%. Also, it is quite possible that this figure can definitely be achieved if the growth rate is around 12% also, because the entire growth that we are talking about is with reference to the dollar mark. So if there is a real-time growth of around 12% every year starting from today, and also the rupee gets more stronger against the dollar by 10%, definitely in that situation we can achieve the $5 trillion mark. That would be growth as in China's heyday without China's like currency depreciation. Impossible? Certainly not. We cannot say that achieving this figure is impossible. We can definitely go for such figure and we can definitely touch this $5 trillion mark by 2024 as said by our Prime Minister. But for that, we need to have put an extremely strong determination by the countrymen, and a Herculean effort is required. Now, if we talk about the present scenario, after having laid power lines to rural areas and built motorable road connecting villages to towns, India is on the cusp of a food processing revolution, which could not just raise the share of manufacturing in GDP, but also significantly raise agricultural output and farmers' incomes, besides riding food prices of extreme volatility. See, there have been many works done. Now, if we talk about here in this editorial, we are talking about laying power lines. So, rural electrification, one of the greatest aspects of development. The present government is doing pretty well on that. Also, the governments in the past have too realized that the rural electrification is a mandatory process if we want to have an inclusive development. So for that, rural electrification has always been a primary focus of each and every government. Now, the rural electrification is considered as the backbone of rural economy. According to the present government, year 2022, it has been marked for achieving the target of 24/7 power for all. Now, there are various policies that are associated with the rural electrification process, not by just the present government, but also by the governments in the past. For example, the National Electricity Policy of 2005. Similarly, we have National Rural Electrification Policy, National Rural Electrification Policy of 2006. By the present government, we have the policy of Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gram Jyoti Yojana, which was started in the year 2015. Also, the Rajiv Gandhi Gramin Vidyutikaran Yojana of 2005, the Saubhagya Yojana 2017, that is the Pradhan Mantri Sahaj Bijli Har Ghar Yojana. Okay, so these are some of the initiatives that have been taken by the governments in the present as well as in the past. Similarly, if we speak about the connectivity of the villages to cities, a tremendous work has been done. First of all, if we talk about what exactly is the road connectivity in the villages. So according to the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, the villages are now being connected. There are proper roads, and with those roads, there have been several other initiatives that have been taken by the governments to connect the roads from villages to the cities, at least to the district headquarters. Such initiatives have been taken, and a prosperous work is going on in this entire field. Similarly, if we talk about the food processing industry, we are doing quite well, though there are several burdens, several issues that are concerned with the food processing industry, yet we are making our initiatives, we are taking lot many initiatives and making fast moves towards food processing revolution. Now, when we speak about food processing industry, it means food processing is a process under which any raw product of agriculture, dairy, animal husbandry, meat, poultry is being processed. The process of value addition is included here to produce products through methods such as preservation, addition of some food additives, etc. Now, if we talk about the status of food processing in India, India is the world's second largest producer of fruits and vegetables after China. But the concern here is hardly 2% of the produce, only 2% of the total entire produce is actually being processed. So this is a cause of concern, yet we are making our moves. We have taken lot many initiatives, and in the future to come, we will be one of the biggest leaders in the food processing industry as well. That potential is thwarted by a bankrupt power sector. The situation of power sector is quite bad. However, in the yesterday's slide, we discussed about how the central government has offered a liquidity support of 90,000 crore rupees to the state-run power distribution organizations. So yes, government is working constantly and consistently on the improvement in the power sector as well. Fixing that problem calls for political firepower, not financial engineering or a new law. Now, only financial support or a new law will not help in improving the situation. Now, it has to be done with a collective political combination. Now, the political parties should come together. They should combine, they should join together to actually see what exactly is the problem. Unless the political parties are not leaving their personal agendas and focusing on the development of the nation, this problem cannot be solved properly. So it is high time that political parties should leave their personal agendas behind and come forward for a joint collaboration so that the country is improving. Patronizing power giveaways and power thefts that take place under the cover of power giveaways is what makes distribution utilities accumulate, rising due to generators bankrupting the entire sector. Now, the biggest problem that is associated with the power sector and how important power sector can be for the Indian economy, we have to realize this thing. Now, the power sector is one of the most important areas where actually we can do a tremendous amount of work. But there are several issues which are associated with the power sector as well. The biggest issue associated with the power sector is power theft. Now, if we talk about power theft, so power theft is the practice of stealing electrical power or electricity utilities in India. If we talk about that power theft, so electricity utilities in India, they lose crores and crores of rupees every year to power theft. Now, according to the Electricity Act of 2003, Section 135 says that electricity theft occurs when a person taps electricity line or tampers with the meters or the transformers. So we have to see that this problem is also been taken into consideration and how government can efficiently stop this issue of power theft. Politics must decide to stop tolerating power theft or giveaways unsupported by subvention. Now, like I said, everybody has to come together to fight against this menace. A thriving debt market must be put in place to fund long gestation infrastructure projects. Now, there are many infrastructural projects which are pending from a very, very long time. So proper funding should be done, funding should be given to these infrastructural projects so that they are completed as soon as possible. Now, with the completion of such infrastructural projects, definitely there will be generation of lots and lots of jobs for the people. So it is quite important that a focus is also put towards this side as well. Industry must cease to have easy picking from inflated project costs that bank willingly finance and must compete with the world's best. See, it is time for Indian industries to get global. This is time that we have to make our representation in the global market. And Indian industries, Indian manufacturing units have to put that effort combined together so that they are occurring in the global sphere. That is important for us. Now, the future ahead, industry must learn to look beyond the low-hanging fruit and acquire global ambition. Like I said, we should not go for the low-hanging fruits, but now the target of the Indian industry should be to make a place in the global sphere. We have to aim global now. That is essentially a question of changing the political culture and resultant policy. And in order to make that happen, there is a requirement of change, both from the political aspect as well as the individual effort of the people. This political reform must not be neglected in all the focus on economic reforms. So we have to see that if we want to make economic reforms, it is only possible when the political scenario of the country is also ready for a change at this point of now. So viewers, this was with today's editorial. Now some of the questions that can be asked with reference to today's editorial. Number one, the COVID-19 crisis is an opportunity to pursue the goal of a self-reliant India. In the light of the statement, discuss how can India succeed in attracting manufacturing firms and jobs from China. Number two, discuss the role that ruler-centric policies can play in reaping India's demographic dividend. Now viewers, there is one more thing that we have to discuss, one of the most important aspects that we should understand. Now we are talking about the ruler-centric policies. We have to remember that the present government has set a target of doubling the income of farmers by 2022. And in that field, in order to make that thing happen, so that the incomes of our Indian farmers is doubling by 2022, the present government has taken lot many initiatives. For example, measures such as the Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, the Soil Health Card, Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, and many other measures have been taken. So government is also putting its maximum effort that can be done from the government side, so that the income of our Indian farmers is definitely doubling by 2022. So viewers, this was with today's editorial. I hope you liked today's editorial. Thank you very much.